People love to make rules, don't they? Well, rules are meant to be broken, aren't they? Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Aaron, aka Visionaaron, and today I'm going to be sharing a few other design rules that I love to break for my own house that I think makes it more creative, photogenic, and just comfortable and happy for me to live in. So let's see which ones I'm breaking today. Breaking the law. The next interior design recommendation that I love breaking is having too many mirrors. I sometimes hear interior designers worry about creating a hall of mirrors effect, or sometimes it's feng shui that you're not supposed to have the energy bouncing back and forth too much and things like that. But I love it. I love having mirrors and reflected surfaces. I guess it's my magpie kind of liking little reflections everywhere I go. And when I move through the home and I see sunlight reflecting out of different surfaces, or even if I catch a glimpse of myself or other people or different angles of the opposing walls, for me, it creates almost like artwork on the wall. It's like a movement, kind of like those paintings in Harry Potter that would come to life. It's like you see something different whenever you move through. Actually, on this wall right here, there's a mirror right by this installation that I did of all these kind of paper lanterns in a rainbow flow. And it's so beautiful when the light from the window shines through it and then reflects in that mirror. It feels like I'm looking into the looking glass into a magical world that I've created. So I don't feel you can have too many mirrors, but of course I work in the beauty industry and there's some vanity involved in that. It's not that I think I look so good, but I gotta check myself to make sure I don't look terrible. No, it's actually more to do with being the shape of the frames. For example, on this wall behind me, I wanted to have sort of like almost like a trypophobia bubble, circular, organic repetition to it. And I just like the circular shapes of it. And they're all mirrors for now. But I also see how if I got time to create artwork for each one of those sizes, I could actually substitute them out with art in the middle and still get that kind of satisfaction of seeing the rounded shapes. And even in my guest room where I don't know, I have 100 mirrors or so, they're all literally like antique, metallic, Baroque frames. That has a special effect as well. It kind of makes like candlelight or low light of the reading lamps glimmer and reflect, and it really lights up in a magical way at night that I think that people who are afraid of using too many mirrors will never experience. But come to my house and try it out and see what you think. I get complimented on it by guests, so they're enjoying it at least. Another interior design recommendation that I love to break for my own home is how everybody's renovating their homes, taking down all the walls and just trying to open everything up. Or in new builds, especially in North America, they just love to have so much space and just make things so giant that to me, especially because I've lived so much of my life in Europe and other places where we tend to just have smaller apartments and condos and things that we live in, we're not as used to having those giant spaces as you often see in home tours in America or Canada or other places where they have more space. I actually love divided and separated spaces, like closing off a kitchen, or at least having like walls between different rooms that have different functions. I love that. For me, there are actually more walls that you have things to put on, more places to put art, more things to decorate that you can do with different colors and create little kind of vignettes and little worlds in each space. I love having division between all the rooms. Whereas a lot of people have just learned from watching a lot of TV shows that renovate and stuff, just knock everything down, open everything up. But I actually like divided spaces. Call me weird, but I am weird. Oh, I see a lot of those houses that have these giant kitchens with these huge, humongous islands. And they're like,
let's not just put in one, let's put in two, because our kitchen looks as big as like a high school gym.
You know? And then they're like, and then we go to the great room that's as big as a football field. You know, like, okay, if that's your idea of what looks good for you and you like that open space, power to you. But for me, I like having lots of spaces that divide up and that give me more chances to create little different colors and different art and different walls and decoration. I like walls and I like these kind of different unique spaces that I can decorate. Thank you for being here and watching. If you're enjoying anything, you should please give me a like down below. And I'd love it if you'd subscribe, because then you can see more of my creative adventures, thrifting, upcycling, home decor, and creative lifestyle that I am sharing with you. And I'll take you on a ride if you follow me along. So click that and let's go. Another interior design rule or recommendation that I love to break in my own home is that you should just stick with a decorating style that is in line or in theme with your architectural style of your home. And I understand the logic in that, and that does work for a lot of people, and that's really a good recommendation for most people. But some people like to do stuff that's out there and creative, and they want to bring some element of a medieval castle to their little house in Canada or something like that. Good for them. It's okay. With me, this house has more of a 70s style, kind of Spanish style architecture, Portuguese, Iberian, let's say, but it would be familiar for people in North America as kind of like Spanish style 70s, except for in Portugal with more tiles and kind of funky 70s tiles and things like that, which I think are cool, and I've kept some of them. But it has these kind of arches and things like that, and textured walls, which sometimes are now coming back into style. But for me, I like embracing those characteristics of the home, but I feel that I don't want to feel like I can't go wild and crazy with my imagination just because that's the architectural style of this home. As you can see, I've painted all watercolor by hand, blending all these different colors to make this kind of kaleidoscopic effect when you walk in the hallway. Well, I've done things that are weird in some of the other rooms as well. And I was collecting so many pieces of things that are actually from this region that are antiques with carved wood, carved hardwood furniture, Baroque frames from France and Spain and Portugal, and all of these things that have this European historical element and kind of ornate nature to them. But that's not exactly the architecture of this home, though it exists in other buildings and historical sites here. You can go and see real castles, and you can see real, I don't know, like palaces and things. So we actually do have those elements in this area, but it's not part of this architecture. So I could have gone really easy and gone super coastal beach property or something like that, but I want to live in a colorful, creative space that's inspiring for me creatively and inspiring for others who come and visit. And part of that was going wild and having fun in my guest spaces. So in my green guest room, it's very inspired by the ornateness of Versailles or kind of French Baroque style, with all these carved shapes on the walls and furniture and mirrors and frames that create a different effect than the architecture of the house, but it's still an enjoyable experience. And some people might think that themed rooms are very 90s or early 2000s, which they were, but I don't feel that I'm trying to follow some specific trend, but I'm trying to do things that are inspiring to me. And if I get sick of it, or if I don't like it in 5 or 10 years, then I'll change it and do something else that I'm inspired to do and passionate about at that moment. But it's my house and I want to have fun with it. So I'm not going to limit myself to just sticking to a style that goes very specifically with the architecture of this home. The other guest room that is gold and Art Nouveau themed is something that also has literal Art Nouveau furniture and antique furniture and things in there, and works of art that are inspired by Art Nouveau, etc. But that's not necessarily the architectural style of this home. But I love it, and I think that it creates an interesting world for people to sleep in and visit. And even when I go in there, I love walking in there. So in the end, break the rules, do what you like, do what makes you happy, because you're the one who has to live there, right? So there you go, a few more interior design rules that I love to break myself, and I will try to show you some of my fashion rules that I like to break as well, because I think that they are part of what helps me have my own individual unique style, partially because I don't follow all the rules that other people follow. And I encourage you to reflect on some of the rules that you think are worth keeping and which ones maybe don't apply as well to you because of your own taste or your own individuality that you want to share with people, and maybe go in a direction that's different to where everyone else is heading. So keep being creative, and I'll see you in the next one.